Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. Today, to finish off my content for November, we are playing a deck that we played a little while ago, and I had an absolute blast for time, and the person who donated for me to play this deck in the first place was happy to donate and make it happen again. So here we are. We are playing this Ancient Cellarspawn sort of control/combo deck. So the aim of the game here is get loads and loads of cards in our hand using the One Ring or Necrodominance. We're powering that out using the Dark Rituals and Cabal Rituals. And once we have this, we're going to draw a bunch of cards, and then we're going to have all these pitch spells, things like Soul Spike, Sickening Shoal, and March of Wretched Sorrow, so we can just dome our opponent for a load of damage. And if we have an Ancient Cellarspawn in play, this just allows us to Soul Spike for huge amounts of damage, because we pay 0 mana for this, so we get 7 damage plus the 4. So 11 damage if the Cellarspawn is in play, which is a pretty large chunk of damage. We played it the other day. I'll put the link to that particular video in the description. It's definitely one worth checking out. I described it as the most fun league I've played all year, and I think I was pretty accurate in my assessment. It did feel like an absolute blast. Aside from this core engine that I've mentioned, we've got ourselves some interaction. So we've got some Unmask. Obviously we have interaction and removal here, but then we have some Unmask to pick up our opponent's hand, and a couple of Duresses to complement that, to make sure that we can stick what we're trying to do. We can't play Vexing Bauble in our deck because we're trying to do all these pitch spells. And have Sheoldred, which is very good with drawing cards. This in Necrodominance is quite a fun time for us. And we've got a couple of Fatal Push just to complement our removal suite of Sickening Shoals and March of Wretched Sorrows. The changes we've made here are adding in some fetch lands to make our Fatal Pushes slightly better, and one Shadowy Backstreet. That's one of the main changes we've done here, and also messing around with the Fatal Push number. We have a bunch of Boggart Trawlers, which are black cards that are also land, which really helps us trying to pitch stuff to the Soul Spike. Same with Fell The Profane, and sometimes you want the removal from this. Troll of Khazad-Dum, this may look like an interesting one. This is, again, a black card that is technically a land, but also this is a 6-drop, so if we want to pitch that to Sickening Shoal, it makes a Sickening Shoal quite large, so that's a good reason to have that one there. That's why we've kind of mixed up the numbers of these ones a little bit. So that's it for the main deck. Sideboard-wise, we have 3 Ratchet Bombs and 1 Filigree Sylex. These are basically the same cards. This one is just a legendary version, has some extra text that's not going to be relevant. But the idea is we are going to struggle against Vexing Bauble. We have beaten Vexing Bauble with this deck, though, by just having Cellarspawn in play. But if we can blow up some Vexing Baubles, that's going to be pretty handy. We also have access to some opposition agents to help in some matchups. We're changing our Graveyard Hate into Leyline in the Void here, which may be an awkward one, because the reason we liked the Fairhammer cards before is because if we're drawing a bunch of cards, we can draw to the Graveyard Hate. But if we're drawing a bunch of cards and doing our thing, we're probably alright anyway. And Leyline in the Void is just some really hard Graveyard Hate. And I think our only loss was in the trophy match to Dredge. So let's try and not lose to Dredge, I guess. A couple more Fatal Pushes, a couple more Duresses, and 1 Mindbreak Trap just to help us get through against some decks that go faster than us if we're not Duressing them enough. And that is basically the deck. I had an absolute blast last time, so join me this time and let's hope we can relive the dream. Please remember to like and subscribe. We've gone over 4,000 subs now, so the next one is the big 5k mark, which is an extraordinary one, and I just thank everyone who has tuned into my channel for making that happen. And if you'd like to see my videos early, you can become a YouTube member for just £1 a month and see all my videos early. Alright, to plug over and done with, let's start plugging our opponent with some delicious Soul Spike action. So, our first hand doesn't have one of our card advantage payoffs, so it was very important to make our deck function. We do have the ability to Cellarspawn and do like a big Troll of Khazad-Dum, so we can hit our opponent for 8. That's not the worst. We do have a Shadowy Backstreet to fall on. We're on the draw though. Does that make a difference here? We want to have targets for Sickening Shoal. I think we can do better than this. We want to have one of our 8 draw engines. Okay, so we have some Disruption, early doors, and we have a turn 2 Sheoldred. That is the sort of thing that can carry a game. I think we are supposed to put back... We could make a turn 1 Sheoldred, in fact. So we just go Dark Ritual into Cabal Ritual is enough to play Sheoldred on 1. I think it's the March of Wretched Sorrow that goes. It's not always going to be useful in a match. Duress, even just knowing what our opponent has access to. Alright, our opponent is doing the Mystic Forge Busted combo deck. Glaring Fleshraker. That is something I would like to kill. And there's more. Okay. And there's more. Okay. This doesn't feel like the sort of turn 1 that we should be seeing. This is pretty scary. Another Fleshraker. Jeez. And more. And a Vexing Bauble. So that's our opponent's entire hand. That is a lot of mana as well. They could cycle this. Alright, we're going to have to make some choices here. A Necrodominance. What are we trying to do with our Necrodominance? So we could Dark Ritual out the Necrodominance, but it's very bad into the Vexing Bauble here. I think the only real recourse we have here is to Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, and then we will Sheoldred the Apocalypse. And this might slow down our opponent's ability to draw some cards. Now, if they have something along the lines of Mystic Forge, they're not drawing the extra cards. But they are Hellbent, and if they crack the bauble... I'm surprised they didn't crack the bauble in response to the Sheoldred. That might have been an interesting one. One Busto start deserves another. I think yours is a little bit better than mine, opponent. Now, they do need to draw some action here. And there's his tower. Okay. Start for us. March of Wretched Sorrow. I don't hate that one. We have to play this, and we have to pay 3 life, unfortunately. Am I attacking here? There's not much point, given our opponent's board. They can just trump block. So I think we're just going to hold up. We could March of Wretched Sorrow here. I think we'll do that. Exile this. This gains us 3 life. We're drawing a card, which is going to trigger our Sheoldred again. This also means that now our Necrodominance is a live draw, because we can pitch a load of stuff and maybe win the game next turn. Oh, wow. Okay. Was not expecting to win that one, but here we are. So, this is the matchup where things like Duress look good. The Ratchet Bomb stuff looks very good. The Fatal Push is not really where I want to be. I think we have enough removal for that guy. So we have all these things. Fatal Push, we only need to kill one of their guys, and we have March of Wretched Sorrow and, where is it? Sickening Shoal. And I think that should be enough. So we can cut those two. I like to be able to unmask our opponents. That seems quite an important one to have access to. We need to keep both of these. We obviously can't board out the Soul Spike type stuff. The Ancient Cellarspawn is kind of key to what we're doing, so that probably stays. Is the Sheoldred too expensive? The Sheoldred does some really good stuff against what our opponent is putting down, though. At the moment, we've got 2 cards in, so it's probably 2 Ratchet Bombs, right? We probably board out 1 Sickening Shoal, because we can't play that underneath the opponent's... we'll take a Filigree Sylex. We can't play that underneath the opponent's Vexing Bauble. We can play the March of Wretched Sorrow. Do we need all of these Duress Unmask effects? We will take out an Unmask this other Ratchet Bomb. I don't know if we can fit in this Mindbreak Trap, and it's not always going to work for us. So I think we're going to run something that looks like this. So our hand is a little bit slow. We can kill a Flesh Raker. We need fast mana. We have 6 fast mana pieces in our deck. Is this hand good enough? I think we can do better. This one does not seem like the place we want to be. Let's mulligan. Okay. Like, it does a thing. We get rid of one of these Necrodominance and one of these Soul Spikes, I think. Let's see if our opponent identifies how good the Vexing Bauble is going to be. Workshop. Lotus Petal. Are we going to see the Grim Monolith start? We're not. Okay, that's good news. No Vexing Bauble is interesting too. Let's just get our Swamp down, and then we can cycle this Troll of Khazad-Dum. If we get in a really weird situation, we can pitch to Soul Spike. I don't really want to do that, but we're allowed to. Is this a Flesh Raker? It is the Flesh Raker. Okay, so not doing anything here. This is good news for us. This means we get to possibly just Necrodominance our way out of it. Let's get Swamp. Alright, let's get the Dark Ritual down. Let's get the Necrodominance down. We already have a pitch card here. So I think we go to end step and we're going to draw... We need at least 3 cards to pitch. So I think we're probably drawing 6 cards here. Let's just dome this. We'll get rid of this Necrodominance and probably this... Is it this March or is it the... I think it's the March here because we want this land. So we need to discard. So we're probably getting rid of the One Ring here. So we have another one. We want to keep black cards in hand. We don't get to draw a card with our next turn, but we have mana so that we can fire off a bunch of stuff. So let's duress our opponents, see what they're working with. It's probably a Kozilek's Command would be my guess. But if they're drawing a card, we get to see what they draw here. Just to dismember. Okay. I will play this tapped. Our opponent's got a lot of life, so I don't really want to pitch. I don't really want to draw too many cards here. But we need enough so that we can play the One Ring. So 2 will take us up to a maximum hand size. Do I care about this Unmasked? Not especially. I think we just take 8 cards here. Intriguing selection of cards. I'll pass it over. We're not going to need all of these swamps, so they can both go. Then we need to keep... I don't really think we need the Necrodominance here. We'll ship that one. I don't think we're going to need the Unmasked. They're going to play whatever they draw here. And... I'll just pitch the Profane. I keep the March. Maybe we don't need this Ritual. We're running out of black cards, though. If we... Right, I've already clicked, so I can't undo that. Interesting. Right, we'll get rid of the Ritual. And Urza's Saga. Was that one they had in their hand before? I believe it was. So what was the one card you drew this turn, opponent? Hopefully it wasn't a good one. Oh, it was a Mox. Okay, that does nothing here. So I believe we can probably win this game on this next turn. We don't draw a card because of how our spells work. Play this one out. Get our little friend. I think we're just going to draw 9 cards here. We know our opponent can't do anything because we know we have perfect information. We can gain a bunch of life. Not the best, actually. Not the best. If we Wretched Sorrow this, it costs us a lot. We maybe should have just played the 1 ring there. How much damage can we do with this Cellarspawn this turn? If we play March of Wretched Sorrow, pitch 2, 4... Like, we have to kill our own Cellarspawn to do that. It feels awkward, because if we hit one of these, they exile it and we don't gain the life. And we need to gain life this turn. Interesting. Okay, so we'll target our own creature. Not a massive fan of doing this, but it's the correct thing to do. So we pitch this guy. That's 2 life. There's 4 life. Got 29 cards. 6 life. I think we need to keep 1 Cellarspawn in hand. So this is going to dome our opponent for a little bit. It's going to give us some more cards to work with for next turn. And then we can discard a bunch of stuff. So we get rid of this, we get rid of a land, we get rid of Ratchet Bomb. I think we should have just played the 1 ring. I think that would have been a better use of our mana that turn. Right, so played out the Plane of Nexus, and then they're holding. This could be a big Kozilek's Command, or they're just going to go into the Urza Saga Factory. So we could draw 6 cards here, or we could just play this 1 ring and sit behind it like we should have done last turn. I'm a big fan of doing the thing that we should have done before. And we can play this one out. And we'll draw a card. We should have drawn a card before we did that, really. This is just a black card. How many cards are we drawing here? I think I'm just going to draw 1 card. Just get up to the maximum. Okay, that's 4 damage to our opponent. We probably need to play the Ratchet Bomb and blow up a Vexing Bauble in this turn cycle. We might need to re-ring as well. Yeah, this game is closer than I thought it was going to be. I thought we were just going to run away with it when our opponent had nothing. But they make a construct and then they should go and get a Vexing Bauble. Now, Cellarspawn does beat the Vexing Bauble, provided we have enough stuff to go with it. But we might have to make a choice about what we're doing in that front. We're going to go down to 5 life. So the Necrodominance is probably not doing the job for us at this point. We'd love to find a Ritual. Sort 1 less 1 card in our opponent's hand. No point attacking us because of the 1 ring. Take some 1 ring damage, as is tradition. Let's draw some cards. Would love to find a Ritual here. Did not find a Ritual. We did find a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is not the amount of mana I wanted. So we'll play this one out. I think we cast another copy of the 1 ring here. I think we keep the new one. Draw a card. Maybe we find a Ritual and that changes things. We didn't find a Ritual. But this is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage. So not quite enough. But if we get to connect with any of those things first, then we do. So next turn we can use this to blow up their Vexing Bauble. We have protection for a turn. Do I want to draw any additional cards? I don't believe I do. I'm just going to save my life for the 1 ring. We can always draw some cards to get the final amount next time. Okay. We're pretty close to getting over the line. Our opponent can't really kill us unless they have Glaring Fleshraker in play. So if they play Glaring Fleshraker and have a Kozilek's Command, they can kill us. Not a big lover of seeing that one. Not a big lover of that at all. But we get to blow up the Vexing Bauble. Okay. Are they going to crack the Bauble here? Let's charge up our Ratchet Bomb. So they can crack the Bauble. So I think we draw some cards first. So we crack this to blow up the Vexing Bauble. And we should have lethal damage here. We need our opponent to not hit a Kozilek's Command right now. Let's get this guy. Let's have a look what they're working with. So we deal 4 damage. Take the 1 ring. So this deals 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is lethal. Boom. Wowzers, trousers. We got there. Yeah. So this is kind of the deck that a lot of people are pretty scared of at the moment and want bans from because of how well it did at Eternal Weekend. And, you know, it's a Vexing Bauble deck and we beat it, which is kind of one of our counters. So far so good. 1 ring OP. Let's go to round 2. Okay, we are on the play. We have a turn 1 Necrodominance, and we get to unmask our way through. Okay, I'm down to clown. 5 cards is so few with the old Necrodominance, but we're going to spend a lot of our hands. We can gas up a little bit. What are we pitching to it is the question. So we want to keep the Sickening Shoal on hand, because that's something we can actually do. So I think we're probably looking at pitching the Troll here to the Unmask. Fell The Profane should be enough with the Sickening Shoal to do what we require. And I'd rather have just a land than have to cycle for a land. Obviously, 3 life is not free, given the nature of how our deck is constructed, but I'll take it. Right, so we'll unmask, target our opponent. We will pitch this Troll of Khazad-Dum. What are you working with, opponent? Okay. Okay. Not a giant lover of what I'm seeing here. So we have 2 Vexing Baubles to get through. That is a problem. I guess we have to take the Monolith. Does that change how I'm playing this game? I don't know. So we could Dark Ritual out the Necrodominance and draw some more cards. I think that's probably the thing I want to do. So we're drawing at least 3 cards. I think we're probably drawing 6 cards here. Tough call as to what we're pitching. We obviously keep in the Swamp. Yes, one of the Fell the Profanes can go. I think the Fatal Push can probably go. The Fell. And then... Is it the Sickening Shoal? That seems pretty bad into all these Vexing Baubles. But if our plan is to... I guess our plan is to get the Sheoldred going, isn't it? That's going to be a tough one at this moment in time. Right, I guess we could pitch the Sickening Shoal. Oh, Vexing Bauble, you are somewhat troublesome for us. Given their hand, they were always going to play the Vexing Bauble first anyway. So play that out. Are we drawing cards with his Necrodominance? It doesn't feel good to do that right now. But if we're not doing that, what are we doing? I think we have to go to the end step here. And then we're going to draw a load of cards. I think we just draw 8 cards. We're looking for Sheoldred. Do we find a Sheoldred? We did find a Sheoldred. Can we do any of this stuff? We got... This March of Wretched Sorrow isn't really doing it, so we get rid of this land we don't want. This Troll of Khazad-Dum is a land as well if we want it. I guess the Unmask isn't doing that much here. We don't need another Necro. March of Wretched Sorrow does work. The fast mana works, but do we need this much of it? Probably not. I guess we don't need the Troll. We're probably getting rid of something else here. Fell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one of these has to go. I guess we get rid of... How many cards? Oh, these cards get exiled, so this is not giving us a lot of mana. Okay, that works. So the plan is to Sheoldred our way out of this. Sheoldred pretty good against the One Ring. They can't prevent lost life. Okay. So March still works underneath what our opponent has. They found a Grim Monolith. So much for our attacking of their hand. Okay, so we don't draw any cards here. Play this out. Cast a Dark Ritual. Cast a Shoulder of the Apocalypse. We go to end step. We draw 5 cards. Gain 10 life. I believe this is what you call the combo. And we still have the March of Wretched Sorrow up, so if they do play a creature, we can vaporize it. This puts us to 1, but then gains us 10 life. Can we get rid of the Sickening Shoal and the Necrodominance here? So our opponent's going to play the One Ring this turn, but the One Ring isn't great into poor little Shoulder of the Apocalypse. And then, in theory, we might just be able to draw 10 cards and then spam a load of stuff at our opponent. No, we don't get to do that. Each target opponent, so we can't target the opponent. So this isn't going to work this turn around. But we can still dig for the things that we need here. Somehow don't hate our spot, but they're going to be doing a lot next turn. Ancient Tomb won't damage them this turn because of the One Ring protection. So I can spam out this Vexing Bauble and then draw from the other one. There's the other Vexing Bauble. I guess we could be in a situation where in our opponent's upkeep, we could try and fire off some Sickening Shoals, because that works. Candelabra of Tornos. They can use this to untap their Ancient Tomb and have 2 mana to play with still. Somehow, I like our spot. Alright, they're untapping that. That gives them 2 mana as well, but they can use it in our turn. So we don't draw a card because of the way Sheoldred works. We don't have any fast mana here. I think I'm willing to play this untapped. Let's get the Cellarspawn down. It's a shame it says target. If this was just each opponent, that would be real nice. We can gain 7 life here, or pay 7 life. So it's going to put us into 1 life. It's going to draw us a bunch. A Sickening Shoal is one of the things we're after. We have a bunch of stuff we can definitely discard here, though. We can get rid of land and land. Lowest mana value stuff goes, because we're trying to Sickening Shoal our opponent. Which means it's probably this one next, because we can actually cast a March of Wretched Sorrow. Okay, so how much damage can we do our opponent right now? We could deal them... This, pitching this, deals them 6 damage. This, pitching this, deals them 2 damage. So we have 8 damage locked and loaded, but they're also taking damage from the One Ring. So we are 1 damage away from killing our opponent here, if my math holds. Alternatively, fire this off. This is 2, 4, 6 damage. That's still not enough, is it? 2, 4, 6. Or this pitching this is 6 damage straight up. This pitching this is 2 damage. Yeah, so we are slightly shy. Maybe our opponent taps the One Ring, the Ancient Tomb, to try and play a One Ring, and then we can get them. Manifold Key. This is Workshop. So these are now Ancient Tombs, these are Workshop. They were it before as well, when they had the Urza Saga. 5 mana on the old One Ring here. Okay, so now they've tapped the Ancient Tomb. Oh, tap it. Come on. You know you want to. What's the worst that could happen, opponent? Let me be the wizard. Another copy of the One Ring. Is it worth doing anything here? So we could shrink our own Sheoldred right now and dome our opponent for 4. Do I think they're going to be able to kill our thing? I don't think so. This is going to get countered anyway, isn't it? Because of the Bauble. Pitch this onto this guy. Pitching this. Wait, what do I miss there? It's dealt 6 damage. Oh, it deals 6 damage because X equals 4. Yeah, we just have the win here, don't we? Alright. Okay, we are beating through Vexing Baubles. Somehow, we are doing it. So, we wanted these Ratchet Bombs before, and what did we get rid of? I think we got rid of an Unmask, and we got rid of a Sickening Shoal. Did we bring in the Duresses? I think we did. And we got rid of these Fatal Pushes. What else did we get rid of? Was it one of the Sheoldreds? I'm not sure I like getting rid of the Sheoldreds, given how useful it is into what our opponent's doing. Because it's one of the ways that we get through a lot of their stuff. So we're supposed to trim another Unmask here. And just sort of side grade to these Duresses. I can believe that. Maybe we trim us. Is it trimming a Soul Spike here? Is that a crazy person thing to do? I don't know. We need to keep the Cellarspawn because that's how we win through what they're doing. What is the other cut? Maybe it is a Soul Spike. That seems wild. Maybe it should be a Sickening Shoal. Alright, we'll try that. Obviously, I've not tuned this deck with numbers and stuff so far. So we don't have any acceleration here. We'd just be playing like a very slow game here. And I don't think that favours us when our opponent's doing some pretty busted artifact stuff. They're basically playing Urza block constructed is what it feels. So we need to have something pretty strong. So let's mulligan. Yes, I'll keep this. I will bin off 1 times Swamp, please. Are they going to lead on a Vexing Bauble? They are indeed. Not a bad card to have against us, truth be told. I will cast a Dark Ritual. Am I casting Dark Ritual into Necrodominance right now? I think so. I'll just pay 1 life for now. Another Dark Ritual. Okay. I don't hate that one. Khan the Great Creator. This hits Planeswalkers, doesn't it? It does indeed. Okay. What are they going to find? I'm sure it's going to be something I don't like. Candelabra. So if we want to get the Ratchet Bomb down, it's not going to do anything until we kill this. We can't Dark Ritual and play this. So I think we are on the go to end step, draw some cards here. I think we need to find a very specific set of things to get out of here. So let's just draw 14 cards because we can dump a load into the March of Wretched Sorrow right now. Is there anything we're doing with this Cabal Ritual right now? I don't believe so. Okay, so we're going to point this at this Khan the Great Creator. We're going to be exiling some things. These Soul Spikes are a little bit awkward, but if we can go... So what are we doing next turn? We're not able to play multiple Cellarspawns, so we get rid of one of those. We don't need multiple Sheoldreds, so we get rid of one of those. This Cabal Ritual is only +1 mana. Is that relevant? We play a land, and then we... No, we already have the Dark Ritual. It's probably enough here. Let's get rid of this one, and this one. Do we need this? Probably don't need this Troll. We get rid of one of these as well. Do we need the other one? How many cards are we going to have left in hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the One Ring if we want it. So we probably do want the One Ring. Because we're probably getting rid of this and this. So we want the Cellarspawn. The March is what we're casting right now. Do we need to keep mana open for any reason? I don't think so. Okay. We're going to gain a lot of life here. And then we have to discard. So we get rid of one of these, and I don't think we actually need the Ratchet Bomb here. Which might be a wild thing to say. Yeah, we get rid of the Ratchet Bomb. Cellarspawn can do an awful lot of work for us here. Alright, the Flesh Raker. This could be a very scary turn for us. How much are they going to pop off? So they can use this spawn token to untap their tower and continue playing spells. Every life that they damage us by is less cards that we get to draw. What's in exile? How many pitch spells are in exile? A lot. So I don't think we can rely on this Cellarspawn. I think we can probably rely on this one ring to do some work for us, though. It is annoying the amount of mana we have available here. 3 cards in our opponent's hand. We have to Dark Ritual to do any of these things. But maybe we draw something off of our one ring here. Look, we can play Broken Artifacts too. I will draw 2 cards here. Just go up to max hand size. A Sickening Shoal and a Dark Ritual. So we could Dark Ritual and cast a Sickening Shoal where X is 1. That's not good enough. Because this is instead of paying its mana cost. We can't add it to X. So next turn have to be a pretty big one for us. We certainly have the ability to have a big turn. They've cracked the bauble. That is very interesting. We can just dome their Fleshraker right now if we want to. Do I want to dome their Fleshraker right now? Because we're not taking damage from this due to the One Ring, I think it's okay for now. If they play another bauble, then we can dome it, but otherwise we can use this to just kill our opponent next turn. Because we're going to draw many. Could play the One Ring, that could be a little bit annoying for us, but not the end of the world. Because we can do some stuff in their upkeep, potentially. This deck is really fun to play, and there's a lot of really intricate decisions. Don't really want to see a Khan here. You're making an artifact. Okay. This gets them a ping that doesn't actually hit us because of the One Ring. Very glad we played the One Ring. Could have been a dicey turn without it. So you got 3 cards in hand, a bunch of mana. They can use the Candelabra to untap and get some more mana. Okay, so they're making more constructs. That's interesting. That is not a display of strength right there. Not in my opinion, at least. So we have to be careful about the amount of life we pay in case our opponent does Kozilek's Command. Although the ping is when they enter. So this is interesting. Don't really want to spend any life on this Bloodstained Mire. So we're 1 mana shy of doing all the things I want to do here. Our opponent has the One Ring running, so we definitely want to get the Shoulder of the Apocalypse going. 1, 2, 3. So they can't kill our Sheoldred right now. Oh no, they have the Eldrazi Spawn token as well, don't they? Let's see what happens if we change phases here. So I think we're supposed to Sickening Shoal this Fleshraker. This way we know how much life we're going to gain, or how much life we're going to spend, because they're going to want to get this ping off. Making a construct, sure. We have 2 mana floating, so we get an end step, and they spend in that mana. If they Kozilek's Command here, that's really problematic for us. Beseiju, that is pretty good too. So we don't get to do the really busted stuff here. But their One Ring is shut down by our Sheoldred. Yeah, we could have just drawn 18 cards, gained loads and loads of life, and just have the perfect hand to kill our opponent with. They might get another Vexing Bauble with this as a Saga. Do they have the Kozilek's Command here? If they have it all, they have it all, and that's, you know, Magic the Gathering. Making a construct first. They would have killed our creature in the upkeep if they could. They've made a mistake here, I think. They wanted to do this in their main phase, I think. They're doing it in response to the draw. Now, there might be a reason they're doing this, I don't know. Right, they're making some constructs. So these are going to be at least 8/8s. So if they can play another artifact, we're forced to block with our Sheoldred, which is obviously a massive problem. I think our opponent is going to be able to turn the corner and win this one. They got Voltaic Key instead of Manifold Key. That's a bit unusual, because Manifold Key can give you an unblockable construct, which might be relevant on this board. Right, they're untapping their Candelabra, so they get to untap, make some more mana. So this could be a massive Kozilek's Command. Okay, Mystic Forge. Feels like our opponent's going to do quite a lot of work here. A Voltaic Key, so this is going to be more mana. Another Vexing Bauble, so that shuts off some of our scarier things. Their constructs now require a block. We do trade, but that's not a great trade for us. Interesting they would do that now. I guess they don't think this is about their love total right now. They just need to get through this turn with some big constructs. Because we basically get 1 more turn, so we need to find like another copy of the One Ring or something. Our opponent might be trying to make 2 lethal constructs this turn. Alright, so playing into Vexing Bauble, this is just to clear it off the top of the Mystic Forge. So they can untap some lands here with their Candelabra, which I suspect is what's happening. So it's probably the 3 Urza lands that get untapped. Yep, there they go. There's a Basalt Monolith, Fleshraker, okay. So they need a few more pings, and that's going to put us in a sketchy place. So untap the One Ring. So we have to block here, otherwise we die. So then they get to use their One Ring. We need our One Ring to be enough to win us the game, which might be a tall ask here. So they need to hit us for a little bit, because the One Ring is going to put us down to 6. So 6 pings is enough. And that Kozilek's Command is enough pings. Okay. So now we go to game 3, and we are on the play, which means I would like this one of Unmask back in. And what are we taking out? think we take out one of the Ratchet Bombs here, just to get the Unmask in. I think that makes sense to me. Maybe we want another Sickening Shoal. I don't think we're like trying to dome our opponent with that many things. Now, this is an interesting matchup. This hand is not keepable for numerous reasons. Let's mulligan. Dark Ritual, but nothing to do with it. We can certainly rip our opponent's hand to shreds, but then we're not doing anything. I think we need to assemble our own game plan. Would like to find a Duress in an opener. We have the Duress. If we keep this hand, so you get rid of this March of Wretched Sorrow, and probably the Shoulder of the Apocalypse. It's awkward. It's an ugly one. Our opponent is mulligan to 4 though, so hopefully our Duress can do all the work it needs, and then the Filigree Sylex can come in and do the rest. I wonder if they're just mulliganing to Vexing Bauble. We already beat Vexing Bauble in game 1 anyway, so we've certainly shown we have the capacity to do that. Let's take a quarter of your hand, opponent. How do you feel about that? A Manifold Key and a Grim Monolith. I will take this Grim Monolith, please. That should keep you away from doing anything for quite some time. There's the Nexus and the Manifold Key. We'll play this. We'll pay 3 life, sorry. We'll play the Filigree Sylex. This can blow up the Manifold Key if we want it to. I think putting a counter on this makes a lot of sense, though. Just having it charged up with 1 counter is a big deal. If we can just find a land and play this... Oh, yes, there we go. We've got a 3-3 beater. Trained Armadon, I think, was the 3-3 beater of choice when I started playing this game. 3 mana, 3-3. Urza's Workshop. And no play. Would love to find a land, obviously. We did find a land. Okay, let's attack with our little friend. When in the sort of game of mulliganing, we end up quite well off because we have 8 things that just refill our hand. Whereas our opponent's draw engines don't necessarily refill their hand in the same way. Okay, we can't do anything with that just yet. We can just sit there with this Filigree Sylex. If our opponent plays something like a Grim Monolith, we're obviously inclined to tap the Filigree Sylex and blow up the Manifold Key before they get to do that. Because otherwise we're just going to be facing down a Khan anyway. Not going to charge us up. Let's draw with the One Ring. Dark Ritual and a Bloodstained Mire. These things are all A-okay with me. Splash for 3. Let's crack this. I think we want to swamp here. And we'll cast this Necrodominance. Go to the end step. We'll draw 14 cards. I don't believe our opponent can deal us 1 damage. Soul Spike. Let's fire this at our opponent. Get rid of this. And then we can Soul Spike them again. Alright. We are 2-0 against the best combo deck in the format. That plays main deck Vexing Baubles, which hose our whole deck. I'm starting to think that we're playing a very real deck. Let's go to round 3. We're on the play. We have a turn 1 Necrodominance, which is certainly in the ballpark of things we want to attempt. So I will keep this. Start Ritual. Just get this Necrodominance in. I'm going to take... let me take 10 cards here. Okay, we'll Soul Spike our opponent here. And we'll get rid of... We don't need this Boggart Trawler anymore. Probably don't need this. And we're going to have to discard some other cards here. I would have liked to have found some fast mana there. So we get rid of a land that we don't want. Another land we don't want. A spare copy of the One Ring. Fell The Profane can go. And one of the Marchers. Oh, we still need to get rid of another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess it's a Fell here. I didn't quite go to plan. I would have liked to have found some fast mana. Ancient Tomb. Are we just doing this whole thing again, are we? It's just going to be Grim Monoliths out the wazoo. Vexing Bauble. Sure. We've already shown we can beat that. I suspect we're playing the same deck yet again. We don't get to draw a card because of the way this game works. So, I would like to duress my opponent here. What do they have here? Khan the Great Creator, Kozilek's Command, Kozilek's Command. Khan is probably the more annoying of them. For now, at least. So, this doesn't work under the bauble. So, we go to end step. We need to draw quite a bit of cards here. Gives us 5 cards for next turn. That's probably a reasonable enough amount. Okay, so we have some stuff we can work with. We don't need another copy of the One Ring. We didn't find a land, but we can play these as lands. So then we get rid of one of these. The Sickening Shoal and the Soul Spike both feel a little bit awkward, but if we play the Cellarspawn out next turn, this is... If we pitch this to the Sickening Shoal, that is 6, 7, 8 damage. And then we just have to cast this, and that's enough. Okay, so maybe we don't even need the One Ring here. So maybe we pitch this One Ring. Do we want the March in that case? We don't necessarily want the things that cost us 3 life for a land when we could have a Cabal Ritual which does kind of the same thing here. And I guess we keep the March. Do we keep the March over the... So we need a mana source, Cellarspawn, Sickening Shoal, card to pitch to it, another card that we can play. So that's probably the Soul Spike is the easiest high-end payout there. So that probably means the March goes. Leaves us a little bit shields down to a really bananas Glaring Fleshraker turn. But we have the win next turn, I believe. Unless we get crazy unlucky. Playing this out, not activating it. Interesting. So I guess we could have cycled the Troll, but this is a 6-drop. So it's very good for our game plan here. Let's get Cabal Ritual going. Let's get this Ancient Cellarspawn. They can't kill this because it has mana value 3. So we draw 4 cards at the end step and we should be able to get something going here. What is this in aid of? They're now just not sure what they could find here for 2 mana. Now, if they have a Dismember in the main deck, then they die anyway. So we just go and draw some cards here. Okay, so we can Sickening Shoal, targeting one of their things. We don't care if it gets countered because it's getting countered anyway. So we pitch this Troll of Khazad-Dum. We still get the life loss. And then we can pitch Sickening Shoal on this. Pitching Sheoldred is fine. And we still have the Soul Spike if we need that as well. Alright. Once again, we're playing against this deck. Well. Magic the Gathering. What is going on? So we want these Duresses. We don't want the failed pushes. Take out at least 1 Unmask and 1 Sickening Shoal. And we have 2 more cuts. I think. What have we been doing before? Maybe we should be taking out one of the Soul Spikes. Or maybe it's one of the Unmasked and we can swap that round if we're on the play. But we keep beating this deck. We're 2-0 against it today. So we're doing something right. Turn 2 Sheoldred is probably good enough to do some work here. And then we can play the Cellarspawn. And we can pitch just stuff to our guy. Alternatively, we can play a turn 1 Cellarspawn. And then we have, what? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 damage straight up. That might be good. I'm expecting a Vexing Bauble, though. So I'm not expecting this to necessarily remove our opponent's creatures either. A Pithing Needle. That's going to be... What's that going to be on? Necrodominance. So that doesn't work on Necrodominance because it's a triggered ability. Our opponent might know that, but they're hoping that we don't. Okay, I think having turn 2 One Ring or turn 2 Sheoldred is probably better than playing out the Cellarspawn now. We have 6, 7, 8 damage, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, I think we're just going to cycle this Troll, make sure that we can hit our land drop. They didn't have a 3-drop, which is kind of wild. Alright, you tap that Ancient Tomb, opponent. If we draw a Soul Spike, that's 9 plus 6 is 15, 16, 17. Khan the Great Creator. So this makes our One Ring a bit rubbish. What are they getting here? The One Ring. Okay. That's reasonable for us. Let's cycle this Troll. Ancient Cellarspawn. So we're pretty close to being able to like do the double here. I think we are just on Dark Ritual out, the Sheoldred the Apocalypse. Nice One Ring, opponent. We can emergency pitch to kill something along the lines of a Glaring Fleshraker as well. Sure. Is our opponent about to find out how the One Ring interacts with Sheoldred? They are. This is life loss. You still lose that life. Okay, we might be able to kill our opponent next turn. Manifold Key. You're going to draw some more cards with the One Ring? A Vexing Bauble. Sure. That doesn't actually matter here. In fact, that's better for us because then our Sickening Shoal doesn't kill our creatures. Did they not activate the Khan? Okay, second main phase. They're putting on this. So this gives us a thing we can target if we want to. So a land would be fine here. Okay, we don't get to do this. So we attack the Khan. So they have to block with the Manifold Key. Missing the land there is kind of annoying. So they go to 9. They could get a Lattice here. But that's going to hurt them in a big way. Because they're about to go down low enough that these Ancient Tombs are just going to kill them. They're at 5. Lane and Nexus. Alright. We are now 3-0 against the Khan Forge deck. I think our deck is very good against them. Sheoldred is my guide, my light. I don't actually own any in paper, which is sad. But this card is a sweet mama jamma. Let's go to round 4. Okay, what do I think of this hand? It's a bit too slow for my liking, and our mana is darn fragile, so let's mulligan. I don't hate this one. It is slow, but I think it's okay. I think we get rid of the... I don't think we get to keep Necrodominance and the One Ring. I think we have to pick our battle there. So it's probably the One Ring that goes, because we want the black card for the Unmask. Okay, an Ether Vial. Okay. So we might have some time to sort of settle into this game. Let's take a peek what our opponent's working with. I think we do pitch the Soul Spike here. Behold my 3 Ether Vials. Okay. I really dislike playing against Felia as a general rule, but we can nail that pretty easily. So let's take the Stoneforge, because Stoneforge gets awkward because Stoneforge ends up giving an pre-war formal wear, and then we're just kind of in amongst it then. Can we get our Necrodominance going? Shadowy Backstreet. Sure. I suspect we're going to see another Ether Vial. So if they can start drawing some good cards, they're going to be all over it. They also are playing a 60-card D&T variant, which is interesting. A Soul Spike, you say? I don't want to be wastelandable, so I think I'm going to play this land out. We can get our own Shadowy Backstreet and then play the Fell The Profane as a land, because we're already going to be exposed to wasteland. We may as well kind of lean into it a touch. We've got 2 Ether Vials going upstairs, getting the counters building up. So they're going to be able to deploy pretty much anything in the very near future. But our plan is to make it so that doesn't matter. We'd love to find some fast mana. Pre-war formal wear. That's a pretty spicy one. So they milled over the Recruit of the Guard earlier with their Shadowy Backstreet. So this is a real tasty play right now. So they can immediately get something and put it into play. Okay. I think we should be fast enough to generally beat what our opponent's doing. Oh, Spirit of the Labyrinth, though. That is a mean one. Let's go. So we have the answer for it anyway. We can Soul Spike it if we have to. Got Shadowy Backstreet. We have perfect information on our opponent's hand. Oh, yes, please. This is exactly what I want to see. This gives us so much latitude to do what we want now. So now we can Necrodominance. Do I want to play this Fell The Profane as a mana source? Or is it better as a black spell? A black card, sorry. I think I want to play it as a land. Is that true? We're kind of using that to pitch to the March of Wretched Sorrow, though. Okay, no, I don't think we get to do that. So they're going to put in this Spirit of the Labyrinth in response to our Necrodominance trigger. This is where they have to do it. So in comes the Spirit of the Lab. Goodbye, Spirit of the Lab. And now I get to draw a bunch of cards. I'm going to draw... I think I want to draw 20 cards. That is quite a lot of cards, isn't it? We already have the Soul Spike. Let's call our Jets and draw 10. So let's... Soul Spike goes to our opponent's face, which is kind of nice. So let's Sickening Shoal this one. Pitching Fell The Profane. And then we can Soul Spike our opponent, getting rid of a Duress and another Fell The Profane. We'll keep the removal spells. Just top ourselves off a little. We will get rid of some lands. And we've got a pretty tidy hand here. We've got perfect information on our opponent's hand, so we'll hopefully get an idea what they draw if they play it, and then we can know what we're playing around. Next turn we get to do Sheoldred things whilst holding up 1 mana, so we can cast a big March of Wretched Sorrow. Alternatively, we could play the One Ring and just start going to town with that, which is pretty reasonable too. So they played a Flagstone, so we know they got Felia. There's the other Ether Vial. I think we just play the Sheoldred here. We know they have a Felia in hand. We'll tap this so we have a basic available in case our opponent has a Wasteland. We want to be able to March of Wretched Sorrow. So we know Felia is our opponent's last card in hand. So if we draw 13 cards here, that should do us pretty well. I need to make sure I don't misclick and hit 14. That would be awkward. We've got some triggers. Let's Soul Spike our opponent here. I will pitch this Necrodominance that we don't require, and this Boggart Trawler. We don't have anything that we can shoot up. We could do like a massive life gain off of this March of Wretched Sorrow, but we don't need to. Our hand is pretty darn tasty. I don't think we need this. I don't think we need the Duress. Do we need a One Ring here? I don't think we do. That can go. We have 2 lands, so we need one of those. Boggart Trawler's not great. And I like the Sickening Shoal. The March is something we're kind of holding on to anyway, but we got 2 of them. So okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one of these cards has got to go. We just get rid of another one of those. Good luck, opponent. All right, Sheoldred. Draining them again. So 2, 4, 6. We can hit something pretty big here. And in a matchup like this, we just become a control deck even more so post-board when we just kill all of their things. We probably have to bring in Ratchet Bombs just in case they have Vexing Portal. It's also not bad against what their deck does anyway, because they kind of need a critical mass of creatures to do anything. We can hopefully stop that from becoming a problem. Let's go for the Cellarspawn here. I'm not going to use this Unmask right now, because if our opponent has a Spirit of the Lab, we don't want to get blown out by that. What could they blow us out with here? I can't think of anything. They could Pitchcast a Solitude, and we lose the Sheoldred, but we gain a bunch of life, and then we should just be able to dome our opponent to oblivion. If they Pitchcast a Solitude now, then we know that their hand is empty, and we can then unmask for 4 damage off of our Cellarspawn. If they play some sort of blocker, we can always march a Wretched Sorrow out the way. Yeah, I think our chances look pretty good, which is what happens when you draw half of your deck. All right. So, I think we probably want some amount of like Ratchet Bomb, Filigree Sylex, and the opposition agents have some relevant text, and I would very much like these Fatal Pushes. So that's 8 cards I'm interested in. We do not require these Duresses, I don't believe. The Unmasks seem a little bit less enticing. I think we just want lots and lots of removal for the most part. So if we were to board these out, then what does our deck look like? The Sheoldred is a little bit weaker against our opponent because it's a legend, so we could probably trim down on that. I don't want to board out any of these things that are removal spells, so maybe we just get rid of a Ratchet Bomb and just have 3 Ratchet Bomb effects. Yeah, that seems good. Maybe we can get them with the turn 1 opposition agent. So especially on the draw, the Unmask is maybe a thing that could take a clutch Thoughtseize our opponent has if we're on the play. But if we're on the draw, there's not really much reason to have the Unmask. Sure, it can pave the way for one of our creatures, but what we're going to do is we're going to kill all their people, and then we're going to draw a bunch more cards, and we're going to kill all their creatures, and then we're going to win the game. Simple as that. I do not like the mana on this one. 1 wasteland, and we are in the dirt. So we're going to send this one back. We don't have a draw engine. We don't even have any removal. I'm not counting Soul Spike. I think we're going to mulligan. Okay, I guess we keep this one. I don't think we can keep double Soul Spike. I need to keep the lands. I want to keep this. Means we're probably getting rid of either the Sylex or the Soul Spike. It's probably the Sylex we keep here. I know that seems a bit counterintuitive with the Cellarspawn in hand. Deafening Silence. Sure. I think we can beat that. I don't think we're ramping out this Cellarspawn. Okay, I've changed my mind. I think we are ramping out this Cellarspawn. I'd rather just get our threat in play and start beating down. Our opponent has given us some information about what their hand does. A little bit. They've said it's a let's go sort of hand. Okay. Ghost Quarter. They're testing us out here. We do have a lot of swamps though. We could ramp out this Boggart Trawler, or we could just play this, pay 3 life, get this Filigree Sylex down. If we need to blow up a Deafening Silence, this does it, because this is non-land permanents it hits. So we're a black deck that might be destroying an enchantment. What a dream. So we can, even if we get Wastelanded, we can Dark Ritual out our Cellarspawn. But what we really need is some sort of mana, some sort of card engine. Yep, so we're going to lose the Boggart Bog here. Okay, I passed a return. I was meant to put a counter on that Filigree Sylex, and we didn't. So I could ramp this out and then have a Sickening Shoal we can't do anything with. I think we're just going to pass. And we will put a counter on this Filigree Sylex. Don't you worry. I will remember this time. Our opponent doesn't really run zeros. The only zeros they have tend to be indestructible germ tokens. And we're probably not killing those. A Thalia or something could be quite dangerous for us, but these decks tend not to run Thalia anymore. A Bloodstained Mire. I think I want to hold the Dark Ritual, because if we draw the One Ring, that is the sort of card that gets us where we need to be, and then we have the Cellarspawn that we can pitch to the Sickening Shoal to get rid of a potential Spirit of the Labyrinth. Now, if we resolve any of our card draw engines, we probably win the game. There is an argument to not crack this, to crack this but not get a Surveil land, but I think we just needed the extra look here. Fell The Profane. Put that into our graveyard, please. I guess we can't use the Dark Ritual to power out of One Ring unless we blow this up. But that's what the Filigree Sylex is there for anyway. Boggart Trawler. I will play this and take 3 life. I will deploy our little friend. Again, we're keeping the Dark Ritual in the bank in case we can find the One Ring. Because then we can just pop the Filigree Sylex, make sure we get the One Ring down. 4 mana. Witch Enchanter. So what are they going to blow up? Presumably our Cellarspawn. Yes, they would like to blow up our Cellarspawn. That is unfortunate, but I can live with that. Necro-Trowel, basically. Sheoldred the Apocalypse, very bad into Karakas. So this is probably going to get pitched to a Sickening Shoal at some point. But I don't think just killing this Witch Enchanter works. Sickening Shoal does kill colder tokens, actually. So it's a little bit better on that front. A Ghost Quarter. We have plenty of lands. Yep, you can hit us with a Witch Enchanter. Our life total being what we're trying to leverage for cards means that we are in a little bit of a pickle if our opponent does that sort of thing. Okay, so that's another thing that we get to blow up with the Filigree Sylex. That's fine. They will just draw a card in response. We don't have a way of dealing with our opponent's Karakas, so one of our main damage engines is going to be trickier to leverage here. But what should happen is we draw lots of cards and win the game. Alright, I will take this, and I will get the swamp. The One Ring. I will blow up these 2 1-drops. Yep, you draw your card, opponent. Be my guest. And in theory, the One Ring should run away with this game. They might have a way of exiling this. I will certainly play out our land here. If our opponent taps their Karakas for any reason, we can play the Sheoldred and just get a crack in with our One Ring and draw a bunch of cards and gain some life. Alright, another Flagstones. That's probably not where our opponent wants to be, since they didn't cast anything with their Ghost Quarter they had last turn. Maybe this is fixing their mana, though, and they need to cast a black spell. Now, they might just be mono-white, and the Shadowy Backstreets are just for the Surveil action that they can get hold of. They've got 2 cards in hand. We do get to do One Ring things here. Troll of Khazad-Dum. I think we're drawing some cards here first. March of Wretched Sorrow. I think we... Do we Swamp Cycle here? I would like to keep making land drops. The fewer lands we have in our deck, the better our draws are going to be as well. Sure, so we have a March that we can use to kill this Witch Enchanter if we want to. We also have a Sickening Shoal available. But we'll see what our opponent does first, and then we can make some decisions. I'm okay to take 2 here. We can kill this in the end step if they don't have anything else. I guess we could wait, because we're going to have more cards and do more stuff. I don't know, we'll see what our opponent's up to. Recruiter of the Guard. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Let's see what they find. Probably Spirit of the Labyrinth, which is something I'm very happy to kill here. I imagine they leave their Karakas up. Oh, a Skyclave. Yeah, that works. So, how is this worded? When it enters, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent you don't control. So this trigger will go on the stack. Okay, so there's no point killing this until it's resolved. Until it's taken the thing out, because we won't get to do anything. So we'll just drain life for 3 on this. And we get a 4/4. Not bad. Biggest creature on the board. There is the Karakas being tapped over there, but that's not really going to help us. We're not quite at the level where we get to do what we need to here. Let's attack with our illusion. Then we'll deploy your friend and mine, the One Ring. I will draw a card. I will play this swamp out. And I will pass a turn. So if we get another land, we can play Sheoldred and Necrodominance if our opponent taps their Karakas for some reason. Feels like we're doing alright. The fact is we have a draw engine and our opponent doesn't. If they find a way of like flickering this Recruiter, that could be awkward for us. Okay, they have another Recruiter. What are they going to find off of this one? We can Sickening Shoal. It's just going to be another Skyclave. Which means we do get to do the Sheoldred Necrodominance thing. And just sculpt a hand that kills everything our opponent's doing. They could get a Flicker Wisp. And just flicker their Recruiter and just try to build their board out. But we can kill their Recruiter in response if we want to. It does come at quite the cost, because it will cost us the Sickening Shoal plus either Necrodominance or Sheoldred. Probably Sheoldred, but we'll see. Because Sheoldred is very difficult for us to leverage in the face of this Karakas. I have to imagine it's the Skyclave to deal with the onboard ring. But we could Sickening Shoal in the end step. Okay, they got Stoneforge. That is interesting. Okay. What sort of Stoneforge tutoring is this going to be? Is it pre-war formal wear? It is the pre-war formal wear. And they have a Ghost Quarter. We don't care about the Ghost Quarter. But they can test us if they want. That pre-war formal wear. I would like to get rid of that. I don't think we have a way of getting rid of that. So their Caracas is still up, so we don't get to do those things that we want. I believe we are drawing a card here, or drawing 2 cards. An opposition agent. You are a touch on the late side. I think we are attacking here. So if I want to cast a removal, maybe we flash in the opposition agent 1, 2, 3, and that leaves us with 1, 2, 3 mana to spend, which could be a Sickening Shoal or something. I don't think I want to play out the Necrodominance just yet. We'll see what they pre-war formal wear. They should pre-war formal wear getting back the Skyclave, but they might get greedy and go for the Recruiter, which we can blow out in a big way with opposition agent. It gives us a chance to make our opponent slip up a touch. Alternatively, if they attack with their creatures here, we can flash in the Oppo agent and kill this Recruiter. Is it worth me killing the Recruiter, or is it worth me trying to blow our opponent out? We save 1 damage. I think 1 damage is not worth saving. It might end up mattering, but I think I would rather try and get our opponent this way. Alright, so this is going to be the pre-war formal wear unless they have something spookier. It is the pre-war formal wear. What are you going to target? Please target this Recruiter. I'm begging you, opponent. They did not target the Recruiter. This is the Skyclave Apparition. Okay, so they take our 1 ring. In the end step, I will play this opposition agent. Under the Deafening Silence, this Cabal Ritual is basically useless. So I'm going to fire this off, pitching the Cabal Ritual. This is going to give us another attacker. So we've got 11 power in play right now. Oh my god, what have we done? That was so dumb. I forgot that it gets pumped by the pre-war formal wear. That was such a spew. Whoops. Oh no. Okay. Let's just vanquish this now. Yeah, we could have absolutely had this game. We just pitched the Sheoldred to that instead. And we attack for 8, 9, 10, 11. Our opponent's massively on the back foot there. That might cost us. We've got a pretty strong board though. Uh-oh. Ophelia. So this blinks out our tokens. So now everything sort of falls apart. We could have saved our Fell The Profane for this. Yeah, I think that's going to cost us the match. So our opponent would be on 5. They wouldn't have Ophelia. We can't even do a Necrodominance. I guess we could Necrodominance, draw a bunch of cards, and then try and Soul Spike our opponent. That is an option available to us. Wasteland, that does cut us off of actual real factual mana. But the Deafening Silence is going to stop us from being able to Necro and deploy those cards immediately. So you have to go to our opponent's upkeep to get any juice out of them. I suspect they put the pre-war formal wear on the Fed. So they could blink out our tokens, or they could blink the pre-war formal wear. Either one is pretty strong. Right, so they're putting it on the Witch Enchanter. So they're going for attacking us for, what, 6, 7, 8, presumably here? No, it can't be 8 because they would die. But they're blinking out our token here, just attacking us for 6. That's very strong. And they have a 4/4 Vigilance. Yeah, I think we've ruined this one a little bit for ourselves. Now, we might not have won it anyway, but we really haven't helped ourselves with that play. So we can Fell the Profane here and attack. Alternatively, we can Fell the Profane and take out the Felia. If we Fell the Profane here and attack, then they kill us on the Crackback. I think I want the Felia to die, which is probably us casting Fell the Profane in our opponent's turn. Yeah, this is a tricky situation we've built for ourselves that we didn't need to. So what, do we trade the Illusion for the Witch Enchanter? I think we have to kill the Felia. If we lose this 4/4, we are in trouble. Oh no, they have a spell. Spirit of the Labyrinth. That certainly cuts off another one of our outs, doesn't it? So at the beginning of combat, we will kill this Felia. So they can probably just build up for a good Alpha Strike. Oh, they have the Caracas and they've seen it, sure. Okay. That wasn't a great play either, to be honest. But if they attack with a Felia, we're in trouble. So we at least get a chance to block here and clear something off the board. It's not feeling great. This card was getting killed by the Felia anyway. So that removal spell was basically like removing the Witch Enchanter. We could have removed the Spirit of the Lab, but then we have to throw our opposition agent on the bus and we're at 2 life. And we can't really draw cards with a Necrodominance anyway. We need like... Ratchet Bomb isn't the worst. Does it keep us alive though? So they flash in the Felia, we block here, we take lethal. Yeah, no, we're dead there. That was a mistake. Okay. So I like the Ratchet Bombs. Deal with their 1-drops. Do I want to have these Unmasks in? I don't think so. Our Cellarsspawns look a lot worse. Our Sheoldred doesn't feel great here at all, though. Maybe we have to get rid of these. We bring back in a couple of Unmasks. Okay. So our deck is just like removal.deck. Maybe this is a game where we need to cast a Troll of Khazad-Dum. I don't know. Maybe we probably just want to dome our opponent with a Cellarspawn though. So what does this hand do? We don't have a card advantage engine. We do have a Ratchet Bomb and some removal. We don't have any basic lands either. I think this is a mulligan. We can kill some creatures, but we don't have a card advantage engine. Is it worth going to 5 to find a card advantage engine? Or do we just take this double removal spell hand? I'm not a big lover of this Shadowy Backstreet though. Feels a touch on the awkward side at times. Do I believe in the deck? I do believe in the deck. Do I believe that 2 removal spells? They've begun with 7 cards in hand. 2 removal spells is a lot of removal spells. Some decisions are required here. I think we're going to mulligan. We have so many powerful things that our deck does. Yes, this is one of those powerful things. So we probably pitch this Troll, and the Fell The Profane is fine here. Let's start Ritual, and we can just Necrodominance, draw 10 cards, and construct a hand that should be able to win the game. I don't see a Soul Spike that we can pitch for free, which is a pity. Okay, so we're going to go to cleanup. We're going to get rid of a land we don't want. The Fell The Profane is a little expensive for what we're trying to accomplish right now. We don't need this one. We don't need this one. And what are we looking at here? I like all the removal spells. We're a little bit shy of doing the One Ring. So maybe we're burning off the One Ring. Seems kind of wild. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe get rid of one of these marches. Kind of wish I kept the fetch hand now for our fatal push, but I guess we just have to live with that. Fell The Profane. Maybe it's Oppo Agent here. A Vexing Bauble, sure. We can beat that. We have to choose how we want to beat that, because gaining life might be a difficult thing for us to accomplish here. I think we'll play out this Cabal Ritual, Cellarspawn, and then we'll pass a turn. We're obviously going to draw some amount of cards here. I think we draw 6, 5 or 6. 5 is fine, I think, here. So we can go to cleanup. Why do we go to cleanup straight away? We could have pinged this for 7 damage, but I don't think that's necessarily what I need to be. I don't need 2 of these. I don't think I need the Cabal Ritual anymore. It's probably better than another Necrodominance. Yeah, we could have just had 7 damage there. Maybe that would have been a tighter play. They're hitting their own flagstones. We could have had an opposition agent. This is just fixing, really. No. Okay, it is fixing. Okay. I don't know if they have black spells or not. I guess we'll find out soon enough. We need our opponent to play a creature that we can gain some life off of. We'd love them to play like a Spirit of the Lab or something. They play a Spirit of the Lab. We pitch like 3 cards to it. Failure. That works too. I don't believe our opponent's blocking here, but we also don't want to give them the chance to block. So we cast this, targeting this. How many extra cards are we going to exile? We don't want this one. I quite like having the Fatal Push. So I think it's just the 1 here. And how many manas am I going to tribute to this? Because every mana we pay is an additional card. I think I'll pay 2 here. This gives us a little nug. And then we get to attack. Go to end step. I don't want to get killed by an Orcish Bowmaster if our opponent has one, so I'm only going to draw 6 cards here. Soul Spike, the face here. Pitching Oppo Agent and Fell The Profane. Soul Spike, pitching Fatal Push and Ancient Cellarspawn. So this is 7 more damage. And then we March of Sorrow our creature here, pitching this. Cast this, pay this. Done. And that's the final point of damage. Boom! Alright, we had a turn 3 combo win. Pretty exciting. Once again, for the 2nd time in a row, I am facing a trophy match with this deck. Did I accidentally break Legacy? I don't think so, but boy howdy does it feel good. Right, 4-0. Let's rattle our way into the trophy match for the 2nd time with this deck. Welcome to the trophy match. Our hand is awkward. We don't have any fast mana. We have 6 pieces of fast mana we can draw. We have some interaction, which I like. This is a reluctant keep, I think. I think maybe we might want a 7th Ritual in the deck. Our opponent plays a lot of Show and Tell, if I remember rightly. We're getting Show and Tell straight away. That could be a bit of a doozy. Just to ponder. Okay. So they're probably going to leave the card they want most on top of their library just to protect it from discard. Our opponent is a fine magician and knows what they're doing. What are we going to draw? Okay, a swamp. I would like to unmask my opponent here. I'm probably going to pitch the Sickening Shoal. I don't think that's going to do much against our opponent. I don't really like the Soul Spike very much, actually. We can pitch Soul Spike to a Sickening Shoal, but we already have one of those anyway. All right, yeah. I've convinced myself. Let's have a look. So they might leave like the Show and Tell or something on top. Okay, a Brainstorm and a Ponder. No fetch lands at present. That suggests to me that I want to take the Ponder more than the Brainstorm. Although they can fix their hand quite a lot because they have all these cards they don't necessarily want. That's a tough one. I think it's the Brainstorm based on that little second bit of information I just relayed in terms of our opponent having the ability to turn multiple of these cards into the things they want because they're an A plus B deck. They currently have neither. So Brainstorm can put both in their hand. So I think it's correct to take that one. Maybe that's a bit short-termist. If they have a fetch land here, then I'm going to feel vindicated. But we don't know, because they're pondering. Maybe that's where they find a fetch land. Although I doubt they would keep a fetch land off the top with a ponder. But if they shuffle this, they did not shuffle. They played out a Tropical Island. Hand might be too slow here. Do I want to play this? I think, no, we kind of need black cards. If we have to take 3 life down the line, then so be it. But we have the ability to kill something big around days. Something like an Archon of Cruelty or an Atraxa. We don't have the ability to deal with an Emrakul, because Emrakul is some nonsense right there. We also get to keep an eye on what's in our opponent's hand because they didn't have the opportunity to brainstorm it away. They did shuffle this time. So maybe they only wanted 2 cards. Dark Ritual would be a great draw. When isn't Dark Ritual a great draw, right? It feels like we always want it in our deck. A Swamp. I think we just play this one out this way. We have more stuff to pitch. It's very unlikely that our opponent goes low enough for our Soul Spike to be a game-winning spell. Our opponent probably just thinks we're sitting here dirling doing nothing. And they're right, to be honest. They might be scared of something. They might suspect opposition agents. Perhaps that's what they're looking at. I suspect they're just trying to generate their own combo here, rather than caring about what we're doing too much. If we're not putting pressure on them, that's exactly where our opponent wants to be. That's the last card that we had information on. A Sneak Attack. Very sneaky. The only red mana they have is via this Lotus Petal. They have 3 cards in hand. Our response to one of their creatures does not use... Oh. Yep. Okay, that's a little bit awkward for us. I was going to say our response does not use mana, but that is now a problem. Our opponent's got 2 cards in hand. Do I believe that our Wandering resolves here? I think I have to believe... because of the Vexing Bauble, I don't know what they could have unless they've got like a main deck consign or something. Let's just get the One Ring down. I guess they could crack their Bauble and then Force of Will. This does unlock some of our other cards though. Force of Will are going to 1 card in hand. Okay, Show and Tell is gone. We really need that One Ring, but we've taken the Vexing Bauble out, which is a reasonable scalp in terms of what we're doing. We also took out the Lotus Petal. Please don't put anything too scary, please, opponent. An Atraxa Grand Unifier. Okay, let's kill this pitching Soul Spike. Okay, so they did not find... Oh, they found another red source because they can use this Misty Rainforest to get what they need. Okay, and they can put the Emrakul in and destroy all our opponents. And that's going to be pretty good. Oh, they took the Atraxa instead. Okay. Sneak Attack, Atraxa, Show and Tell, Force of Will. Okay. Putting in Atraxa, so then we have to keep appraised of all the other things they have. A Lotus Petal and Emrakul. Yeah, I think our opponent can work that one out. Alright, this is a matchup where I would like some Duresses. This is an awkward one because we kind of need to deal with their called Vexing Baubles. So this is definitely going to be an awkward Vexing Bauble matchup because the Ratchet Bombs don't have a lot of other text. But do they need to have a lot of other text? It's a different question. Okay, we don't really need Fatal Pushes, and the Sickening Shoals don't actually seem very useful here. So maybe we take those out, and then we're just looking for one more cut. The March of Wretched Sorrow also doesn't seem great here. It's going to be a bit trickier for us to get through this one. But we've got 8 discard spells. We have an Unmask. This is a little bit slower than I would want, which is kind of the problem we had last time. I think we keep it though, because we're quite likely to resolve our big spell here. Play this one out. I will unmask our opponent Would love to pitch one of these One Rings. I think we have to pitch the... Is it the Sheoldred or is it the Necrodominance? This is really tough. I think it's the Sheoldred, because you might just be playing the Necrodominance out. Okay, Force of Will, Show and Tell. I think we take the... Oh, we can take the Brainstorm as well. I think we take the Show and Tell here. Just keep our opponent off doing their thing. And hopefully we can overload our opponent's Force of Wills. Because we have 3 payoffs. And if they spend all of their resources stopping our thing, then they're not doing their thing. So we can go and get our Shadowy Backstreets here. That's more or less free. I don't think our opponent's going to have boarded Blood Moon against the Mono-Black deck. So let's get that tiny little bit of selection. This is the new addition to the deck, so let's see. Okay, we do want this land. So we'll leave that on top. We will deploy this land. Maybe we're supposed to play the fetch. So the reason for playing the fetch is if our opponent does have some sort of Blood Moon effect and slams at this turn, we could have had 2 black pips in play. Again, I don't think our opponent's playing on that axis. Alright, so we're going to cast a Necrodominance and our opponent is going to Force of Will it. That's how we've drawn this one up. Let's track this, go get ourselves a little swamp. We're going to see Force of Will. What they pitch here is really interesting. They pitch the Brainstorm. Okay, so they are worried about what we're doing, so they want to keep another Force of Will in hand. So the next One Ring should probably eat a Force of Will. The issue here is if our opponent can just slam something big. So I suspect we're seeing a Thundering Falls, and they're going to get a little bit of Surveil action. No. Okay, what can we learn about our opponent's hand here? They might not have a Thundering Falls in their deck. That could be an option. They might just be preventing themselves from getting discarded, so they're holding up a Veil of Summer, which can also stop things like Soul Spike from us. There's an Ancient Tomb. Green and 2 mana. What is this? A Green Sun Zenith, X equals 2. Okay. Are they playing Collect Roof? Keen-Eyed Curator. Our opponent's deck is really wild. Just a Green Sun Zenith package in Show and Tell. That is cool as heck. Let's get this Ratchet Bomb down. So our opponent's going to start exiling stuff from our graveyard. If they want to, they can crash with a 7/7, which is kind of a big deal here. Is this worth counterspelling opponent? We have instant sorcery, land, enchantment at the moment. So putting an artifact in the graveyard won't make a difference from them being able to get the... I don't know, I don't want to call it Delirium, but you know what I mean with the Keen-Eyed Curator having the different types. Okay, so they're going to eat our Necrodominance, I suspect. There it goes. That tells me that our opponent is not running Surgical Extraction, because they might want to leave that in there to extract, and they can hit the other types first. I think the correct play for our opponent is just to funnel a load of mana into... Okay, I guess this is happening. Emrakul. Okay. Understood, opponent. I'm not a big fan of Emrakul over there. This can still attack us and annihilate our permanents. So we're gonna have to do something pretty magical here. Feels like we are falling at the last again. Let's put a charge counter on our Ratchet Bomb. Let's untap. Let's draw some cards. I think it's going to be very difficult for us to get where we need to go here. Okay, so we have one way of doing it here. We know our opponent has the Force of Will in hand, though. Is there a way that we can bait that out? I don't believe there is. They might not have a second blue card, though. So there's 2 lines here that we have available to us. Did I board out a Soul Spike? I don't think I did. No. So we have potentially 16 damage from Soul Spikes. So my reasoning here is, if we cast this Necrodominance and draw 13 cards, we might be able to kill our opponent. If we play the One Ring, we don't take damage, but we lose 6 permanents. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have nothing. And then they just kill us the next turn. So I don't think that's a winning line. I think the winning line is hope they don't have a blue card, play Necrodominance, and shove. Do you have a blue card? Do you have a blue card? That is going to be the game. And unfortunately, we failed at the last hurdle yet again. So we finished with a very respectable 4-1 for the second time. Let's talk about the deck. So we absolutely slaughtered the Carnforge deck 3 times in a row to begin the league off, which is a pretty incredible feat because that deck is something that people want at least 1 card banned from. I've seen people asking for 3 cards banned from it. And I don't even know if that's unreasonable because some of the stuff that deck does is really miserable, to be honest. So how did I feel about the deck today? Well, that last matchup was certainly an interesting one. We probably kept the worst hands of the league in that particular one. We had some stuff, but we didn't necessarily have enough stuff. So that's kind of a little bit of an awkward one. I don't know how much we're supposed to index into trying to beat Sneak and Show. There are options we have available, so you play something like the Ensnaring Bridge and just sit behind that and just try and dome our opponent with stuff. That's an option we have available to us if we want to dedicate some sideboard slots to that. Maybe that's a better plan than trying to use Filigree to have like the full 4 Ratchet Bombs, because I think if we've demonstrated one thing today, it's that we can beat the Vexing Bauble pretty handily. I think we beat Vexing Bauble, I don't know, at least 3 games, probably 4 or 5 games we beat Vexing Bauble in play. So it's not actually detrimental to what we're doing, as long as we're drawing cards. As long as these 8 cards are doing their thing. If we're drawing cards, we're probably winning. We can win via doing some really gross Sheoldred things and just setting up the hand we need. We can also just cast stuff with Cellarspawn and play and still get the pings off, and that works fine. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the whole deck played out today. It is unfortunate we missed on the trophy for the 2nd time in the last round. But yeah, this was a great way to finish off November. I'm very happy that the donor donated to make this happen for a 2nd time. I think this build was probably slightly better. I think one thing I'm missing is possibly a 3rd Cabal Ritual. I think maybe we trim somewhere along the Duress, probably the Fatal Push. We turn the Fatal Push into another Cabal Ritual. I don't know what we do with this other Fatal Push, if we leave one Fatal Push, or this becomes a Duress, and then we get rid of one of the Duresses here. I don't even know if we need the Opposition Agent. It might not be necessary for what we're trying to accomplish here. So yeah, I think that's the change I would make, would be to add in another Cabal Ritual. Maybe we could try it with 2 more Cabal Rituals and just have 8 ways of powering out our 8 draw engines, and then this will eventually win us the game. Because that does seem to be the case, doesn't it? Every time we have these in play, we are just absolutely loving it. I think the mana base looked pretty fine today. I liked the new Shadowy Backstreet we added. I think still having the Troll of Khazad-Dum is just a black card that pitches for 6 for doing big Sickening Shoals did make sense. I don't think we want to play like a giant Progenitor style thing just to do a massive Sickening Shoal. That is an option you have available though if you want. I don't think that's what I would want to do. Or no, Repicking does 12 damage. So that'd be 14 damage off a Sickening Shoal. So you could do that if you wanted to. I'm certainly not going to, but it is an option you have available. Even in that last game when we were kind of down out, we did have the option of Necrodominance. If we hit enough of our Soul Spikes, all of them basically, then we could kill our opponent. So even when things are going wrong, there is still hope. I think this deck feels like a real deck. It felt like a real deck last time. And I know Phil played it on his channel a while ago, and he didn't get on with it particularly well. I think he played it slightly differently to the way I've been playing it here, where we kind of play a control-y role, or instead of when we're doing Necrodominance, like I was talking to my opponent when they were playing Death and Taxes, when I played my like turn 1 Necrodominance and I drew a bunch of cards, I wasn't trying to ping our opponent for a load. I was trying to make sure we had the tools to set up for a really good turn 2, turn 3. So we're just using it as a setup turn. And I think that's a really important thing to think about with this deck. We're not just necessarily trying to like dome our opponent straight away. I think we did miss one turn when we could have domed our opponent for 4 and we just didn't. We still won that game though. I think there's a reason that I played this deck, and you can probably tweak it and fix it up. And I'll definitely be looking at doing that at some point in the future, because this deck feels really sweet to me. Some people are saying that Vexing Ball is on the chopping block for the December ban, which I think is a reasonable thing to assume. I think the card is really cool and really good in fair decks. But as soon as you start putting in unfair decks, I think it becomes a little unreasonable. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something they hit, because it's not a very healthy play pattern at all. And at the moment, the meta is basically pushing towards like Karnforge decks and like the Reanimator decks. And it's kind of a bit awkward. Like Nardu is the 3rd pillar, so it's basically just 3 different Modern Horizons focused decks, pretty much. We'll see what happens in December, but as for me, moving forward, we are going to be playing a lot of Dark Depths decks, because starting on Monday is Depthsember, which is where I play all the weird and wonderful Dark Depths decks you could possibly imagine. Have you ever wanted to see Mono Red Dark Depths, or Mono Blue Dark Depths, or even Mono White Dark Depths? Well, I've got you covered, because we're going to be playing a whole bunch of them. So please remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of that action. It's the annual event I do every year, and it means a lot to me, and it's really fun, and we have a great time, and we actually play some decks that turn out to be a lot better than I thought they were. We get a lot of 4-1s and stuff with some pretty wild decks, at least we have done the last couple of years. Hopefully we can keep it up. Alright, that is me done for today, and me done for November. So thank you so much for watching. And please join me next week when we go into the world of Depthsember. Goodbye.
If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon.
It has a free guide to budget turbo depths as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month as well as regular articles, and lastly the higher tier gives you all of the above as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.